We've been hit by predators. Hey guys, Sid here. Welcome back to 3 Mississippi. If you guys have been following us for a little while, you know that we have been here for almost 2 years and we're still building up the farm. We're still building up the enclosures for the animals and trying to make them as predator proof as possible. However, predators are still a problem. We're using a combination of things like electric fencing and livestock guardian dogs, but even with all these precautions, predators can still be casing the joint and trying to find the chinks in your armor. So we've got a solution today that I think is finally going to put us in the driver's seat. When we first moved here, it was a long haul. We left the left coast and we came down here to Mississippi, and we took some of our farm animals with us. We brought a few of our goats. My girlfriend Jen held on to them for a while we were in transition and working on building this pen. And then we brought down some of our birds, and we had them in a temporary pen for a while on the property here right out the back door. That temporary pen is actually right here. We use it for the dog enclosure now for when they're eating to keep the goats out of their food. Problem was, it wasn't very predator proof, and when we first moved here, there was a big problem with stray dogs that were just kind of roaming in packs. And unfortunately, one night they broke into that pen really quickly and decimated my flock. I lost all but one of my Sebastopol geese. I lost my peafowl that I had been raising for years. I lost several of my really unique breed chickens that were just my babies, and it was devastating. It was devastating. It was awful. So I woke up to barking and shrieking, and I came running out, and the neighbors, Great Pyrenees, had come over and saved the day and chased off the last of the dogs. However, the damage was done. There was just birds strewn about, and it was just heartbreaking. It was just an absolutely devastating day for me. Just absolutely heartbreaking. Nobody likes to see their animals destroyed that way by predators, especially, you know, a pack of roaming dogs like that. It was awful. That kind of really made us rethink, you know, kind of how we plan things out and how we kind of monitor things, of course. And even now, you know, as we've been adding to things, because, you know, when you first move and you're building and adding things, it takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. And so as we're improving things and finishing things and building things, we've had some issues as well. Now this area of the pasture that I'm standing in right now, you can see it's recently been bush hogged. This is a lot of sage grass right here on the back end of this goat pen. And Mike's original plan was to let all this grow up and burn it. That was great. It was a great plan. However, I didn't, you know, neither one of us were that wild about having so much brush right here, so close to the pen, because that really allows for coyotes, foxes, and other predators that may want to get into your animals, your birds that are right up here, and just wreak havoc on them. And unfortunately, until we had kind of finished some holes in the coop, some of the girls had been getting out, and so we had lost a few birds. They had gotten I think taken by foxes that were kind of roosting in some weird places that we weren't able to find at night, but the foxes did. But you know, we're not here 24/7. We're here a lot. Don't get me wrong. I'm actually dressed up today because we're actually going out for Frankie's birthday dinner tonight. So I'm not wearing my normal farm attire at the moment. We would like to be able to keep an eye on things when we're not here, when we're, you know, running into town or whatever. So we've got a nice solution for that.
RealLink was nice enough to send us 4 cameras for us to try out and see if it's going to meet our needs to cover our property and make us feel more secure and allow us to keep an eye on our livestock. So thanks, RealLink, for sponsoring today's video.
That was like me the other day.
Taller ladder.
There's a big one over there.
Yeah, this ladder's too
You want me to
short.
go grab the big one?
almost got me.
I've been needing to take those branches down anyway.
Well, they're down now. At least you're wearing your lumberjack shirt for this appropriate attire.
Okay, so we want to see the goats.
Smile. You're on not so candid camera. RealLink has created a series of solar cameras that specialize in securing your peace of mind anywhere, even off-grid. These security cameras meet various security needs, including indoors and outdoors. RealLink can work with or without Wi-Fi, and they keep upgrading their devices to feature improvements in image quality and smart detection, including night vision. These cameras are equipped with smart detection technology to distinguish people, vehicles, and animals and send instant alerts to your mobile. RealLink cameras also let you have real-time conversations with anyone that stops by, even when you're miles away. Or you could just talk to your animals. These cameras have micro SD card slots. There is no base station needed, so everything is right there on the chip, storing the motion clips for you locally. These cameras are very easy to install. We installed 4 cameras in probably all of about 30 minutes. You can access your cameras remotely. All you need to do is download the RealLink app, and you can see what is going on through your cameras anytime, any place, even if you're miles away. We've got 2 of the Argus Track, which are 4K solar Wi-Fi cameras. They offer auto zoom tracking for precise monitoring. And we also got 2 of the Argus PT Ultra. These provide a wider coverage, covering almost 360 degrees.
The rooster you see in our opening scene, as a matter of fact, was in here living with Kusi and the goats, and he was sort of he would come and go. He would sleep up on the top here with them on the top of the back over where they sleep under the shelter with the blacktop right there. He would sleep over by that with them, and he would walk around the property during the day on his own. He was great, and so did Freebird. She was kind of a rowdy Rhode Island red that, well, she didn't get along with the rest of the flock. She was nasty to everybody, including the geese. And so she just I just sort of threw her out here and just let them live together. Unfortunately, one day I came out and he had been drugged through this pasture. Now, keep in mind, this was when Kusi was still very young, about the size of, really? What are you doing? I don't know how you got your head through this small wire. So Taska here is our newest guardian livestock dog, and she is a handful, as you can see. The reason I walked over here in the first place was to show you where she had kind of found a chink in the armor and sort of dug through. You really got yourself wedged, my dear. I have to. You got it. There you go. Don't do that again. Good gravy. I have my hand full with that one. She's a lot. Anyway, she's our newest livestock guardian dog. She is about 13 weeks right now, and 14 weeks. She is nothing like Kusi was as a puppy. We had another livestock guardian dog when we got Kusi. Unfortunately, she had a congenital issue and she didn't live very long. So we had to end up getting Taska. She's a handful. She's very spirited. She has a mind of her own, and she's a very different dog. Bless her. I love her. She's going to be great. I know she is, but she's definitely got a mind of her own. But this is where she was trying to dig through yesterday. So she had gotten underneath this fence. As you can see, we took some spare lumber and some extra fencing, and Frankie and I made a little makeshift spot because she had found just enough room where she could kind of get underneath it and push herself through. So when Frankie came out last night to feed, because she feeds them dinner usually, and that's when she feeds Beulah, our horse, Taska just came running up to her out of the pasture. And Frankie was like, what happened? So she, of course, walked here and figured out that's where she got out. And then, of course, while we were fixing it, she immediately tried to get out again. So that's what happens. But going back to the birds, Rico, that amazing barred rock rooster that we had, you know, we lost him, we think, due to a fox, just because he ended up getting snatched, you know, back over here, drugged through the pasture, and I found feathers all through the pasture and all out here. And I was finding feathers and bits for weeks afterwards. And a few of my my other Jersey Giants that I'd been having a problem with getting out of the coop also met their fate over here, as you can see. I've since repaired the coop and kind of finished that section, so they can no longer get out of the coop, which was a big problem we were having, just because, you know, once one figures it out, then they all figure it out, and they all want to be free range, and you can't free range. We live, you know, this is a big creek that divides our two sides of the pasture here, and there's a lot of wildlife, a lot of coyotes and deer and raccoons and possums and foxes and all the things that you don't want. Well, the deer don't really go after your chickens, but all the other stuff will. And the same thing going back this way, there's more water, another creek line way back there across the two big pastures. We have to be diligent and we have to be very careful about, you know, making things as predator proof as we can and being able to monitor it. You know, the dogs are great. They, you know, Kusi especially, he's almost a year old now. He's wonderful. I hear him barking at night. I hear him paying attention. And, you know, if he sees something out of the ordinary, he lets me know. Believe it or not, my geese are actually wonderful at alerting. If a vehicle pulls up, if something's not right, if something's out of the ordinary, they start squawking like crazy. And my peafowl used to be the same way as well. When a vehicle would pull up, they would start alerting as well. So it's funny. You know, there's different systems that you can have in play. Obviously, this electric fence keeps coyotes out and stray dogs out. Would also deter foxes, raccoons, and possums and things, because the minute they touch it with their little digits, they're going to get zapped into the next county. So, and it deters the birds from trying to get out. Guys, I'm really excited about these cameras. I have been nagging, we'll go ahead and say it, I have been nagging Mike forever to put cameras up so that I could monitor the animals better and see the predator situation better, because, you know, we've got trail cams up to monitor the deer and see, you know, what kind of wildlife is out there, and we've caught turkey on there, and we've caught, you know, obviously lots of raccoons and a few armadillos and things like that on the cameras, and deer of course. But I really wanted to be able to see what was trying to get into my animals, what was, you know, when I lose a bird, why, you know, what got it. You know, sometimes I can tell just from what's left behind. If you find a chicken that's just headless, the chances are it was, you know, a possum or something like that. If you find a, you know, a chicken that's been really shredded and mostly eaten, that's probably a coyote and kind of drug away. You know, there's ways to kind of tell. But you know, it's nice to know. It's nice to be able to know, okay, we've got a real problem with foxes, or okay, we've got a real problem with, you know, hawks coming and getting the smaller birds, or we've got, you know, we'll be able to see that now on these cameras, and not just when we're here checking the cards, you know, when we'll be able to see it on our phones in real time, what's going on, who's coming to the house, who's, you know, doing what. And it gives me a real peace of mind, because, you know, we are kind of out in the middle of nowhere a little bit, and we love it, don't get me wrong, but it's nice to be able to monitor things, you know, like a lot of times I'm way out there. And you know, if I hear a commotion up here with the animals, it'd be nice to be able to just open my phone up real quick and look at the camera and say, oh, you know, my neighbor just stopped by, or oh, there's a strange dog walking around my pen that's not my neighbor's dog and not my dog. These are all things that are important when you've got livestock that you're trying to protect. You want to really take every precaution you can, because, you know, this is some of your livelihood, this is some of what feeds your family, this is all important stuff that you've invested time and money into, that you want to be able to see the return on. And if you're so busy feeding the local predator population with your fare here, uh, it's going to be really hard to do that. And it's a difficult job anyway. It's a difficult thing. There's always going to be some kind of illness, there's always going to be some kind of injury, that sometimes you're going to have to put animals down, or you're going to lose an animal. So helping to eliminate the predator aspect a little bit by some of these things, like cameras, um, being able to monitor it a little bit better, it just gives me some real peace of mind. which I like. So this RealLink camera on the shop behind me really offers us a great view of the birds and this whole back part of the yard here. With us having so many of our animals, you know, up front here towards the back of the property, or towards the back of the house, I should say, you know, keeping an eye from this angle is kind of important because we can kind of see if something's coming up, if something's getting out, if something's getting in that shouldn't be. We also have a camera. Installation of these cameras was really pretty easy. Mike had this one up, I think, in all of about 5 minutes. It took him longer to cut down the tree branches to make room for the camera than it did to actually install the camera. It went up super quick and easy. Once you get your cameras, there's just a little bit of time of kind of, you know, setting them up and, you know, naming them so you know which one is where. So when you're looking at the cameras, you know, on your app, you can go through and kind of see what's what. And that makes it a little bit easier for you to control and know what's going on. We've got another one over here on the front porch, which allows us to see this view of who's coming up to the front door. The RealLink app really puts control at your fingertips. With just a few clicks on your cell phone, you can control your camera, you can interact with your cameras, and you can keep an eye on what's going on. So I've got the sound turned off on this right now because otherwise it's just going to feed back, since I'm literally sitting right here right now as I film this. But you can see on the app, you can see the zoomed in version of it, and then you can still see the big angle of it. Now I've walked away from the camera, so I'm going to unmute it now. And you can hear the birds, the wind chimes. You can probably hear me in the background distantly. See, yeah, I'm echoing in there because I'm just around the corner by the garage. But you can see it works. And you also have the talkback feature. So on the app here underneath, there's this button that says talk. You hit that. Hello, hello. And it plays it back. So if someone were at my door and I wanted to be able to communicate with them, I could just hit that talk button and be able to talk to them. Now, as you can see, the other cameras, while they are connected, they are not connected to the Wi-Fi currently. So the one in front of the shop and the one by the goats and the one by the chickens are not currently connected to the Wi-Fi. We are working on that problem, but we are able to pull the cards and view them on our computer. So this also allows me to see in the settings of the camera that's hooked up to the Wi-Fi. I can see what the battery life is. I can see that it is connected to the Wi-Fi. I can check the display mode. I can flip how I want to see it. I can check whether or not it's streaming. You can change whether or not it's recording, whether or not you're getting notifications, you know, every time something happens, email alerts. You can really control every feature of the camera. You know, if it's dark out and there's motion detected, the light will come on, but I can take a picture if somebody walks up and store that image. This will allow me to adjust it, I think. I can now turn the camera and adjust it how I want it. If I want to see more of the front door. So up here you also have this alarm function. As you can see, the app is really easy to use and gives you a lot of control over your cameras and being able to, you know, manipulate them and look at the footage and see what's going on, even if you're on vacation, which is really nice because there's times where, you know, maybe we're gone, maybe we're at a YouTube meetup and we want to be able to peek in on the property. We can do that now. We can see what's going on and we can check on the animals, and I can make sure everybody's, you know, getting taken care of and, and everybody's happy. And the fact that they have such clear night vision, as well as the fact that they work with or without Wi-Fi. Obviously, some of these cameras, we don't have Wi-Fi extenders out here yet. So this one is not on Wi-Fi yet. We will be updating that, so we will be able to get all the cameras on Wi-Fi. But for now, with the SD card in there, we can just pull that and pull it that way. So, you know, obviously there's certain features that you won't have access to if it's not on Wi-Fi. but you can still pull kind of like you would with a trail cam where you can pull the card and look at what's happening. But that is a solve that we're definitely going to be adding. There's a little bit more involved when you're further out in the sticks. Even though we have a house and we have Wi-Fi and internet, there's still more work that has to be done in order to set the repeater up properly for it to reach out this far on the property. So that is something that we will be doing. But for now, this particular one, we'll just be able to pull the card from and see everything. You guys may remember Dan got out a couple weeks ago and, got into some of Mike's collards. We still don't know how he got out. He actually got out again today, several weeks later, and he got out again today. When we got home from church, he was in the garden. I walked the whole fence line again. I still can't figure out how he got out. I saw hoof prints kind of by one spot in the fence where I think that's where he got out, but I can't tell anything on the fence, which is unfortunate. Mike's not happy. He kind of did some damage in the garden. But one of my concerns when we first built this was that these fences were not quite tall enough for the goat. This is where I found some of the hoof prints right here by this T-post. And then there's another spot down there that I saw some. So that could just be him walking the fence line once he got out. But unfortunately, yeah. So that's a little bit of a bummer. Mike is really not happy. He's threatening to barbecue him now. But this fence isn't even as tall as me. So, and the fence we had before was taller. It was at least my height. So I don't know. And then I'm also concerned because there are some spots where, as I mentioned earlier, Taska had tried to kind of sneak under the fence line because there's some gap. So I don't know, but at least now that we have the cameras up, we can kind of check and see what's going on. So Mike's, gonna be investigating that, but he definitely did a lot more damage this time. He got this entire row. This was all broccoli, Brussels sprouts, and collards, and some of them, like, he just completely ripped them out of the ground. So there's another one right here. So he was out here for a while doing this. It's a bummer on a lot of levels. Oh, I can see he left some manure here. That's definitely, he was hanging out here. But at least now that we have the cameras up and rolling, if this happens again, we'll be able to catch it. Got the cameras up a little late to catch him doing it. Unfortunately, I don't know if he's just launching himself over the top, but at least having those RealLink cameras now, I'll be able to see like what happened. Where'd this bird go? Like what, and hopefully that'll really help us be able to keep an eye on the livestock. Don't forget to check down in the description below, guys, for the link with all the information there about these cameras. If they sound like they're a good fit for you. We've been real happy with them so far, and with the quality of the footage that we're seeing. Mike and I are both getting old and getting blind, and so being able to see it very clearly is very nice. We don't have to guess. Was that a bird? Was that a plane? Was that Superman? No, we can see what it is. So it's very good. So don't forget to check that description down below. And again, guys, we appreciate you. And as always, stay blessed and safety's off.